When using handmade paper, it's usual practice to tear the paper rather than to trim it using a rotor trim or a guillotine. First of all, mark out the dimensions of your paper. In this instance, it's a really good idea to know where the middle of the paper is. So by folding the paper over and finding the middle on both sides, you can then use a metal straight edge to line up the 2 points. Now when you tear paper, you get a raised edge, so it's a good idea to tear the paper from the back side towards you. That raised edge is then on the back of the paper rather than the front of the paper. It's best to do this in a clean space, making sure that your good quality paper is free from any ink areas. Also make sure that your straight edge is clean and also your fingers are clean too. When preparing any print process, it's important to prepare your paper before you start printing, and always a really good idea to make sure that your paper is the same size. In the etching area, we've got large paper preparation areas with cutting mats. The use of the cutting mats makes it much easier to judge where your paper dimensions are, and it's very easy to use the underlying grid to make sure that you're cutting your paper square. So line up your paper beforehand. Also consider, of course, the orientation of your paper. You might want to make up a series of sheets in different formats depending on what you're doing. In this particular example, a multiple colour print is going to be made in etching. So for that, it's really useful to have a long, thin piece of paper which will be trapped underneath the etching bed when it goes through the press.